Hello YouTube, welcome to another League of Legends Champion Guide. Today we're covering Tahm Kench support.
Call me king, call me demon. Water forgets the names of the drowned.
Tahm Kench is a very tanky support champion with a great initiation from both his Devour and his ultimate. He's then got rather decent damage considering he is so tanky, and he can really bully the lane when he is ahead. His ultimate then has a 6,500 range at max rank and allows him to initiate from a very long distance. But by far the best part of Tahm Kench is the ability to save your bad teammates. People that are just in spots where they have no point being at all, if they do get caught out, you can devour them and spit them to safety. Although he is a rather great champion, there still is a bunch of cons, the first one being his melee auto attack. The only thing he really has that is ranged is his tongue lash, which means he can usually struggle against poke champions. He is rather tanky, but against those champions that can poke over and over and over again, he will struggle against those ones. He then also really lacks mobility and he has to stack his passive. If he could walk up to any champion and just devour them, he would be rather strong, but he does have to have a certain amount of passive stacks to actually devour that champion, which can be kind of a struggle. Champions generally aren't going to just stand there and let you auto-attack them just to get devoured. For our Masteries, I like to go 12 Cunning and 18 Resolve, grabbing Bond of Stone as our Keystone Mastery. Usually I like to show alternatives as well, but this is really the only Mastery page I like to use on Tahm Kench. This Mastery page just basically makes us as tanky as possible so we can actually sit in the bot lane and not get pushed out too often. For our rune page, we keep focusing on tankiness. We grab armor reds and quints, health yellows, and magic resist blues. When you add up the tankiness from our actual kit, the tankiness from our masteries, and now the tankiness from our runes, we are insanely hard to bring down. We will end up being that incredibly tanky frontliner that will be a pain in the ass for the enemy team. Furthermore, in bot lane skirmishes, we can soak all sorts of damage so our AD carry can dish it out. For our summoners, Flash is a 100% requirement. You have horrible mobility and this will allow you to escape or help initiate. It can save you in all sorts of different situations and is great to use offensively with your Q. If you have passive stacks, this will stun your enemy and then you can follow up with a Devour. For our second summoner option, I really like Exhaust. Since Tahm Kench is a really tanky support champion, he'll generally be in those longer fights, which make better use of Exhaust. Now Ignite is a rather good option as well, if we are trying to go for some all-in kills. You don't have as much damage or CC as other support champions like Bard, who make very good use of Ignite, but it can still add some nice kill pressure if you are looking to add some in the bot lane. Now for our abilities, starting with our passive and Acquired Taste. So Tahm Kench's basic attacks and damaging abilities apply an Acquired Taste to the enemy champion for 5 seconds and deals between 1 to 1.5% of maximum health bonus magic damage. This does however decay, but it can also stack up to 3 times. Then at 3 stacks, Tongue Lash and Devour do gain additional effects, and we will look at that on their respective pages. All in all, it is a really good passive as the additional effects are really strong, but it's even nicer that it does do some extra bonus damage, which is based on maximum health. But let's move on to our other skills so we can see what those additional effects are. So here is that Q ability, Tongue Lash. So this is your one source of range damage. You lash your tongue out in a target direction and deal magic damage to the first enemy hit and slowing them for 2 seconds. It has a 70% AP ratio, which is pretty damn solid on this tanky champion, and the slow is between 30 and 70%, which is rather big as well. So now, for when we do have an Acquired Taste, which is 3 stacks from our passive, this will also stun the target for 1.5 seconds. You are then also able to devour non-champions from a distance when your Tongue Lash is out, which is pretty great because you can grab a minion and shoot it at somebody to do Regurgitate, which is your second part of your W's damage. But all in all, this is your best basic ability as it is ranged and has a pretty decent ratio and can also stun. So we max this one first. When you are using the ability, try to have 3 stacks of an Acquired Taste so you will stun the target. Obviously, it's much better than just applying a slow. So now let's look at the first part of your W, Devour. This allows you to swallow an enemy non-champion or allied champion and make them untargetable for up to 6 seconds at max rank. While Tahm Kench has an ally in his belly, he does gain bonus movement speed when moving towards enemy champions, which can be great to initiate. His bonus movement speed, up to 25%. So for an acquired taste, the target can be swallowed for half of the duration, which consumes all stacks. Now keep in mind this did say target, which means obviously we can swallow the enemy, which is why we can actually have a solid CC when we have 3 stacks. The target will be suppressed and nearsighted, and Tahm Kench is slowed by 95%. When you are initiating with Abyssal Voyage, which is your ultimate, you have to keep in mind that you can't Devour for 4 seconds. After a brief delay, Devour also becomes Regurgitate, which is the second part of your W. Allied champions can then exit at will, so, Tahm Kench can't be a toxic piece of crap just trying to pull his teammates into shitty situations, if you did happen to have a toxic Tahm Kench on your team. So now let's look at the second part of your W, Regurgitate. Tahm Kench then regurgitates the swallow target, and if it is an enemy, they are also stunned for 0.25 seconds. The magic damage is then pretty damn solid. It's between 20 and 32% plus 2% per 100 AP of the target's maximum health. This means it can actually do a very substantial amount of damage even against those very tanky targets. Anything with the really high health pool will take an obnoxious amount of damage from Regurgitate. So if you did devour a minion of some sort, it will be spat forth, stopping if they hit an enemy or terrain, and dealing magic damage to all enemies around them and themselves before taking Regurgitate's damage. This has a really solid base of between 100 and 300 plus 60% AP. This is yet again a really solid damage ability, even though you are a very tanky champion. One more way of adding some nice damage from ranged. One last thing to note for sure is allied champions can also be spat over small walls. This is such an amazing way of saving somebody as Tahm Kench. If you are stuck in Dragon Pit, you can just shoot them over and they will walk away to safety. Even better, you can then shoot your own jungler over the wall so they can try to steal Dragon or Baron and have them flash back over to safety. Now for your last basic ability, your E, Thick Skin. Now there's not too much to say about this ability. It is rather nice as it does heal when you do have some gray health. But other than that, you're pretty much just activating this ability to gain your shield when you're about to die. You don't want to activate it too early, but you also don't want to activate it too late. Either way, although this is a rather decent ability, it's not as good as our Q and W, so we have to max this one last because all that really changes while we put points into it is the cooldown going down per rank. So let's finish up our abilities by looking at our ultimate, Abyssal Voyage. This ability can be absolutely incredible in a pre-made, but in solo queue, it's just kind of mediocre to be honest. Basically, you channel for up to 6 seconds and you highlight where you intend to go, and an ally can choose if they want to jump in and come with you on that journey. When activated a second time, you'll start going towards that location and will arrive after 0.5 seconds. So on support Tahm Kench, it is rather decent because you will have your AD carry with you, and if you are duoed with that AD carry, it's rather easy to communicate that you want to ultimate somewhere. You'll be able to look for a flank on the map, tell your AD carry, have him hop in, and then flank from behind. It's also great for chasing. If an enemy is trying to get away, you can of course ultimate from a rather long range as it is 6,500 at max rank to catch up and kill that target. Unfortunately, you can't use this when your belly is full. It would be nice if you could always just grab somebody and take them right into your fountain to their death. For our skill order, we of course max our ultimate first, then move into our Q for its high poke damage, then our W, Devour, for its high amount of damage when we regurgitate a target, and then finally our E. It is rather nice as it makes us a bit tankier, but it's not as strong as the damage on our Q and W, so we have to leave this one till last. Early in the lane phase is usually pretty hard for Tahm Kench. It's going to be pretty hard to get your passive at 3 stacks so you're able to devour an enemy. Make sure if your AD carry gets in a bad situation that you're in a position to be able to devour them so you can regurgitate them to safety. Then try and land your Q, your tongue lash, as much as possible on the enemy team so your AD carry and yourself are able to land autos when they are slowed. This can be one of the great ways to get those auto attacks so you're able to devour the target. Lastly, when you are level 6, make sure you're paying a lot of attention to the map and look to roam with your ultimate Abyssal Voyage. Tahm Kench goes best with those very high damage AD carries who usually have low mobility. Tahm Kench is able to pull them out of bad situations with his Devour so they can play a bit more aggressively than they would normally be able to. So this of course would be champions like Jinx, Ashe, Jhin, Miss Fortune, Kog'Maw, all those ones that don't have a dash. They're all very strong AD carries in the meta right now since it's shifted away from assassins, but they can be still really weak against those strong ganking junglers as they lack mobility. Now people don't really consider Tahm Kench a very high meta support at the moment, but he still offers a ton to these types of AD carries, and I think he should be considered more often. So here's some of those support champions Tahm Kench can struggle against. They are both poke champions and high sustain ones. So first, Janna is quite easily your biggest counter. She's able to keep you away from her AD carry with her mobility and her knockback. Then there is Soraka. She is another great pick against you because she can easily heal all the damage you put out. High poke champions like Brand, Vel'Koz, Sona, and Lulu are also going to be a bitch to deal with. Sure, you're a very tanky champion, but with all their spammable poke, usually you're going to be able to get pushed out of the lane and you're never going to have health for you to engage. So last, let's take a look at the item build. We start with a relic shield, health potions, and a warding totem. For our core, we take a Face of the Mountain as it has a really strong shield, then we move into Ruby Sightstone so we can get some wards, and of course a locket. Also, please make sure you are trying to counter some vision with vision wards. It is a very important thing to do. For our boots, these are the most viable options, and I have put them in order. We have the Boots of Swiftness, Mobility, and then Merc and Ninja Tabbies. I like to focus on getting as much mobility as possible on Tahm Kench, but if there is a lot of CC, Mercs are great, and a lot of AD, take Ninjas. For our item pool, I really like Dead Man's Plate for its added mobility. It's something I pick up fairly often. For our other armor options, of course there's Frozen Heart if we do need to reduce some auto attack speed, and of course Randuin's to stop some crits. If they're pretty much full AD, you may as well get a Thorn Mail, and if you need some added split push, take a ZZ Rot Portal. Guardian Angel is also a great item as well if you are needing some extra magic resist and armor at the same time, but also needing to come back to life at some point. For our magic resist options, we of course have a Spirit Visage, or if we need to block some spells, a Banshee's Veil. Finally, if it is going to be very viable to have high health, like there's no Veins at 2% damage and crap, then you may want to get a Warmogs. My most common build here, we take our core and then we add a Dead Man's Plate and a Thorn Mail. The one downside here is of course we are lacking some magic resist, but we will have some at least from the locket. Against a high AP team, I would very simply just replace the Thorn Mail with either the Spirit Visage or the Banshees. That simple. So that is it guys, double upload complete. If you guys did enjoy this Tahm Kench guide, please like and subscribe as we have lots and lots of League of Legends content coming out daily. You can also find us on our website, egamingtv.com, and our Twitter at egaming_TV. Thank you guys a ton for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm going to bed. Peace.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake. Cause I don't fucking care at all. You've been out all night, I don't know where you've been. You're slurring all your words, not making any sense. But I don't fucking care.